did my soda go? Maybe it's best I don't have it.
Maybe it's best for everyone.
It's probably best.
That I don't have my soda.
I have tea.
You got your tea. It's already caffeine.
That's all I
Maybe
need.
just stick with that.
Some kind of liquid.
You did share with me this delightful ginger lime Diet Coke.
I wish it was lime ginger for you because I know what a fan you are of.
I appreciate that.
Lime,
I would always put lime before ginger as well. But, it's really good. It's very, very tasty, and I appreciate it. It's way better than that orange Coke. Ugh. Orange vanilla.
Orange
Coke.
vanilla?
It was not good.
So it's not a perfect marriage of
No.
regular Coke, vanilla,
regardless
and orange.
of what the commercials would tell you, it is not a perfect marriage.
Happy,
it's a disjointed and disruptive and destructive marriage. It's not a positive marriage.
So is it Coke with hints of vanilla or vanilla with a whisper of Coke and then like a weird like St. Joseph's baby aspirin aftertaste?
It's like a dimetappiness.
Yeah.
It definitely is vanilla forward. Like you can tell it's not regular Coke, but they already had vanilla Coke or maybe even still have it.
Yeah, I think they still do.
It's not, it barely registers as orange. It's like someone waved oranges over the Cokes after they were made and was like, oh, it's orange Coke. We put it in orange. Maybe they just meant orange, the color on the can.
Nah, that could be.
It could be.
Yeah. Or as Trump says, oranges when he tries to say origins. Have you seen this?
I have. What a...
Like, what are we...
Fuckstick McClown face that guy is.
The fuck
I don't
are
know.
we doing? Like, I can't.
I mean, it's weird that even with his German heritage, it's interesting that he'd act that way. God.
Because he seems really stable otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Everything else seems really in line other than his weird pronunciations. And the fact that his father was not, in fact, born in Germany.
Well, it's kind of like how Bush 43 couldn't say nuclear. He would say nuclear. But this is a lot worse. It's so much more
work to say nuclear. Like, your mouth has to do so many other things than nuclear. Like, nuclear, it's easy. It comes right out. Yeah. Nuclear, you gotta, really try hard for.
I would forgive people for saying nuclear family, because I don't know. I don't know their life.
I don't know what they've been exposed to, quite literally.
But when I would hear nuclear instead of nuclear. That's a commitment to say that word.
It is. You got to go all in on nuclear. Speaking of going all in, should we record a podcast?
Yes.
Let's do it. Welcome to Bitter Coffey, a comedy podcast from two friends who are just about over it. I'm Darek Fenton.
And I'm Kelly Coffey.
Good evening, Kelly. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm good.
Awesome. I just noticed that I said comedy podcast, and if you're like me and have to listen to the podcast 12 times while you edit it, you might have noticed that I didn't say comedy the last two episodes.
I didn't even pick up on that.
And I'm sure most people didn't. Now they will. I don't know why. I would like to retroactively let people know those were still comedy podcasts. If you found yourself not laughing because I didn't say it was a comedy podcast, mea culpa. But it was, in fact, a comedy podcast still, as it is now. So I just
how long have you been carrying that around?
At least since last night when I edited the episode that's coming out tomorrow. Because I then re-listened to the previous episode and realized I also just said a podcast, not a comedy podcast. And didn't notice at the time, either time. If
it makes you feel any better, that's what you had said the first couple of episodes.
Sure, yes, a podcast, right.
So you kind of went retro.
Trying to throw it back. Speaking of which, Kelly and I had a wonderful dinner, as always, riotous meal. So here's what we're thinking, and I will cut this out if we decide not to do it. But the next time we record, we may live stream dinner.
Ooh.
Yeah, on Facebook, perhaps, on the Face Space, because some of the conversations we have, the stuff that doesn't get into the podcast that happens at dinner, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, and I will preface by saying it is ridiculous. If you expect good, do not watch. However, if you want to just laugh at us and with us, maybe, if you're so kind, maybe tune into that. Again, if we decide to do it. Much like the call-in thing, if you're hearing this and going, but where was the live stream? Just didn't do it. Just didn't do it. Couldn't be bothered. Couldn't be bothered. But we may. We'll see. But
how are you?
I'm good.
Okay.
Lot going on in my life. I don't know if you've heard. Having a baby. I mean, again, not me personally, but my wife is having a baby.
Yeah.
So we're in the sort of the last trimester, as the doctors call it.
Man,
and so
that went by quickly.
I know. My goodness, did it ever?
Jesus
they always
Christ,
say
it's been
like
6 months already.
Better start because it creeps up on you. I'm like, we got 8 months or whatever. It's fine. Suddenly it's a few weeks. When you start getting into that like single digit week situation, it becomes more real than it was. But no, I'm good. Everybody's doing well. Baby's doing well. Hannah's doing well.
Good.
Yeah. So pretty happy.
Your mom is already like amped to come here, right?
My mom is so stoked.
Yeah. I think she's just gonna like circle the airport in a plane.
She may have mentioned when I'm in town to visit the baby, if you happen to record an episode of the podcast and you need a guest, I'd be available.
Is that what she said?
Yeah.
She really said that?
Oh, absolutely.
I have to have your mother on the show.
If we can do a podcast while I'm up there, we should do it.
Oh my God, yeah. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, She loves the podcast, and I love her. And she did want me to point out, I talked to her this evening. She said, tell Kelly I said hi. Very fond of her.
Hi, Glad.
Yeah.
Right back at you.
Absolutely.
I adore your mom. And I'm kind of afraid that when I meet her, I'm probably going to hug her like a little bit too long, a little bit too hard. Like
I thought you were going to say she's not going to live up to my expectations.
No. I'm going to
wow, okay.
I'm going to like try and be kind of cool and be like, oh yeah, just have this ukulele here. If you want to maybe jam a little bit because your mom's a musician.
If I could just strum a little something for you.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking the other day, Glad, and I was just, kind of working at this tune and then, G chord, C chord, A chord.
Do you know Hole in My Heart?
Yeah, because let's just run through it once. Let me throw on these drums.
What's the harm, really? And just, I'm going to track down the uke. If you want to go over there and just mess with the levels a little bit. We already got the mixer. We might as well dial in the uke track.
Yeah.
And then if you want to lay down some backers, I'll go ahead and hit the drums. Shall we? Listen, we joke, but my mom is right now writing notes about how
absolutely.
we could get that set up to happen and how quickly she could put something together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
thank Christ.
We'll see.
Somebody has to.
Somebody's got to be prepared. So I do want to jump in right away. Thank you very much, first of all, to everybody who is following us on social media, sending us emails. Want to definitely encourage everybody to do that. We love hearing from you. It's great. It's great to see the interactions. It's fun to hear from people who are listening to the show. But we wanted to share quickly, you had received an email that I think is really valuable to share.
We did.
So let's jump into that first thing.
All right. This email is from Morgan Wagner. Thank you very much. She's an amazing person. You really like her. I got to get you two in a room sometime.
I'd love to meet her. You talk very, very highly.
Can I rephrase that? I want to be like, I got to get you two in a room. It just sounded weird.
It only sounded weird to you.
I know. That's all I have.
I don't really want to get you two in a room.
It would be great if you two met.
Okay.
There you go.
Got it.
That's so.
Someday.
She reached out to us today via email, and look at that font.
Ooh,
it's like old-timey typewriter
very
font.
Bold
I love
and
that font.
easy to read.
Yeah. So she did this. She had said that she chose this font just for fun.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
Because fonts are fun, kids.
Exactly.
Love it. I love it already.
Let me jump right in. She says, I'm a huge fan of the podcast. My favorite thing about the podcast is that I feel like I'm sitting in the room with you having a conversation with my funniest friends.
Aww.
While listening to Bitter Coffey 2 weeks ago on a plane, I accidentally spit on the person sitting next to me on the plane because I was chortling at the trombone car bit you did.
Trombone car.
Luckily, after the incident, I promptly forgot to feel awkward during the 3 remaining hours sitting next to the now disgruntled / damp woman because the podcast is so entrancing. I keep wanting to ask you both for relationship advice. First, because I feel like you both have thriving relationships.
Oh.
And second, because recently I've been getting a lot of weird, unsolicited relationship advice. I don't want to turn your show into an episode of Delilah, but I was wondering if you could share stories of relationship advice gone wrong or the worst relationship advice you received. Thank you so much for the hours of laughs. I love your podcast. This is my favorite part. Warmly, Morgan.
Warmly Morgan.
Warmly.
Oh, God. If she doesn't use Warmly Morgan as a screen name, she's missing out.
Oh, man.
Morgan, thank you so much for the wonderful email. My goodness gracious. That's so incredibly kind. And I love, sitting in a room listening to friends talk is, funny or not. Listen, you make your own judgments. But I love the idea that it feels like she's sitting in a room listening to us because that's the goal, really. Yeah. Is we're just chatting here. We're just chitting and chatting.
Do you find that when I've had this happen on 2 occasions, when I talk with people who listen to the podcast, they will say on several occasions, they've said, it's really weird because I hear you on the podcast and then here you are talking in front of me and you sound the same.
I mean, we've got effects on the mixer, but it's not like a voice change situation.
No.
I'm not trying to hide our identities here. So,
like, I see it, I don't know how to take that other than like, oh, well, that's neat.
That's
like
how sounds work.
I don't know what the reaction should be.
I mean, I guess maybe it's just a veiled compliment to my editing that it sounds exactly like real life because that's kind of the goal.
Yeah.
I don't do a whole lot. It just goes through the mixer and happens this way. That's so funny. You hear about celebrities who are like, "Oh, you're taller than I thought you'd be in person," or "You're shorter than I thought you'd be in person."
Right.
Like, you sound just like yourself.
You sound exactly how you sound on the show. Like, well, thank you.
Podcast magic.
And I said to somebody the other day, they had listened to one of the recent episodes, and she said, oh, I listened to your podcast. I really enjoyed it. It was really funny.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, did you subscribe? Her response, no. All right.
I mean, it wasn't subscribe funny.
Right.
Listen, I'm not committing.
I enjoyed it on my commute to work, but
that episode was funny. Don't get confused. Yeah.
I don't want a relationship
How could
with
I
you.
Possibly? Speaking of relationships, so
do you want to jump right into Morgan's
let's do
random
it.
question?
I love it.
Let's do it.
We're agile here on Bitter Coffee. Let's just do the random question at the beginning of the show. So the question was worst relationship advice you have received, or relationship advice gone wrong, which I think is even funnier. I think it's a natural inclination, especially if you're in a bad relationship, because you're talking about how bad it is, for people to give you advice. I have definitely been in bad relationships. I have the luxury of being in a great relationship now, but I have been in bad relationships that I was talking about, and I'm sure there's been plenty of opportunities for people to be like, well, you know what you should do? Whenever anybody starts a sentence like that, by the way, ignore what they're about to say. You know what you should do? No, you can tell me, but I'm not going to do it.
Might I suggest...
Have you considered?
Yeah.
I have considered it. The worst relationship advice I ever got was probably just, yeah, but it'll get better.
Oh,
which,
right.
If you're a friend and someone confides in you, I'm having a really hard time in my relationship in one way, shape, or form, and they say, it's not going well, listen and try to be objective, but don't default to, stick it out.
Right.
That's just not solid advice.
Yeah.
That's never the solution. Like, work on it would be a version of stick it out. Like, here's what you could do to maybe work on it, and then if it doesn't work out, move on.
Right.
But don't just give me like, just hang on for a while.
It'll be fine.
2, 3, 5, 12 years, it'll be good.
Sure.
Yeah,
these things tend to just work themselves
Hold on
out.
to hope, as they say. Yeah. How about you? Have you gotten bad relationship advice, or have you gotten advice that you took, unfortunately?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Are you into sharing it?
No, I mean, I'm somewhat hesitant because I do know that some of my exes listen to the show.
Oh.
So, I'm not referring to them at all.
Preface.
I think some of the worst advice I ever received was that I should just date and not just focus on one person.
I see. Spread things out.
Yeah.
Give everybody a little taste.
Well, they all kind of knew one another. And I may or may not have known that. So,
man.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird.
Just dating around a friend circle, as it turns out.
But I didn't know it.
Right, unbeknownst to you.
Because I'm oblivious to everything around me.
That's fine.
And they knew each other, but yeah, whatever. And then other dating advice that I got, there was a woman that I dated for about 4 years. Mm-hmm. And when I say dated, I mean like we like dated and then we lived together for like 3 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was right before my first date with her, and I was really hesitant to go on the first date, and I wasn't really sure why. Mm-hmm. And I was stepping off a curb in Manhattan and almost got hit by a bicycle that was going really fast, and it was Sean Lennon. So that should have been a warning that like maybe I shouldn't date this person. If
Sean Lennon crosses your path, the relationship should end. It's like a black cat, but Sean Lennon.
As the old Irish adage goes.
Right, as they say.
So, and I didn't heed that warning, so it wasn't really advice. It was just something was telling me like, don't go forward. And
you got an omen that you didn't follow, as opposed to advice.
I got a Lennon omen.
Yeah, should have followed that advice. That Lennon omen. Mm-hmm. Lennon omen, as it's called in the old Gaelic.
So I don't know if that's really advice, or I don't know what.
So the advice is, if you see Sean Lennon, run.
Here's the thing: if you see Sean Lennon on a bicycle, ask him where his helmet is, why he just ran a red light, and why he's pedaling around Midtown like a maniac.
He is a treasure and should take better care of himself.
Exactly.
Got it.
But he was a lot more aerodynamic then than he is now. Does that make sense?
We should all strive to be more aerodynamic.
Yeah.
I agree. I do. It does make sense, and I understand what you're saying.
So I hope that's a acceptable response, Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan, I hope that gets you in the area you were looking for. Thank you so much for the question.
It's a no.
Well, listen, we can't be expected to provide good answers to random questions, only that we answer them. And we do want to answer them. So if you have your own random question out there, now apparently we can answer it any time of the show. It could be at the beginning, could be at the end. You never know. We're going to keep you on your toes out there in listening land. So please send us your random questions. We'd love to hear them.
I do have a bit of feedback.
Okay.
That I received from one of our listeners, which I think you're going to enjoy.
All right. Okay, I'm ready.
So one of my friends, I got the feeling that she was, I don't know, kind of hesitant to listen to our show.
Huh, okay.
But she did, because she would comment on it and things were funny.
Okay.
And I said to her several weeks back, I said, you should maybe be on the show sometime. It'd be really funny.
We got the third mic. Come on.
Exactly. And she said, oh God, I don't think I could ever keep up. And I kind of dismissed it. Yeah.
Huh.
Because we're not solving any problems here.
No, we're not doing speed equations on the show.
I mean, except for the problem that we just solved for Morgan.
Sure. Right. Morgan's sorted. But
aside.
Other than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she called me just recently and she said, I have to tell you something.
Okay.
I was listening to your show and I'm like, oh, that can't be good.
I have to tell you. And then I was listening to the show. Oh, boy.
Because if it's good feedback, it's just going to be a quick text.
Yeah.
And she said, I would turn on your podcast when I was commuting to work. Mm-hmm. And then I would realize that the time of the length of the podcast.
How long the show is. Yeah.
Would go by much more quickly than she had imagined. So she called me from the parking lot of her job.
Oh, God.
She was listening to our show at a 1.5 speed. So,
boy, my commute to work I don't think is 45 minutes. How strange that the show ended before I got here.
And you two sound like insane people. So what I would like to do for everyone, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to the person who
of course not. No.
Reached out to me.
And she's been listening to the show. She's listened to all of the episodes.
She took a road trip and caught up on episodes.
At 1.5.
And I listened to maybe 4 seconds of our show at this speed.
Okay.
There's no way I could listen to the show. And here's what I want to say.
Yeah.
It wasn't just this podcast. It was all podcasts.
Oh, so her playback was set to 1.5, and so everything was at 1.5. Okay. Yeah. So if you're not aware, because you haven't been unfortunate enough to suffer from this, you can change the speed of playback on a podcast. It's meant to be able to let you listen to podcasts faster, so you can listen to more or whatever. You can change the speed, but I can only imagine.
Isn't that crazy?
I already talk kind of fast. I
couldn't let it go.
Okay.
Because I'm like a child with a new toy when I hear
You've
stuff
discovered
like this.
something?
Yeah. So I just kept on bringing it up. Mm-hmm. We'd be texting about something completely different. I'd be like, let's circle back.
To the fact that you were listening to the show.
At a speed that's crazy.
For months.
We started this in October. And, I would say something like, hey, did you hear the latest episode? And she's like,
oh my God.
I
giving
did.
her anxiety.
Yeah. So she had said at one point, she said she had so many feelings about how she was moving through the world.
What else?
As a response.
What else was she oblivious to in her day-to-day?
Well, yeah, what podcast could you listen to at that speed? So what I want to do is I want to play just a couple seconds because nobody can tolerate more than that. I'm going to play a couple seconds of how this person was listening or being subjected to, absolutely. Oh my God, I'm having heart palpitations. Right?
Welcome to Bitter Coffey, a comedy podcast from two friends who are just about over it. I'm Darek.
And I'm Kelly Coffey.
Good evening, Kelly.
Oh my God,
Another episode
my
We're
heart
well
rate.
Double digits now, and by well I mean 1. It's episode 11.
Oh my God.
We appreciate you all listening. If I'm a little down key, it's just because
you're not. No, you're not at all.
Two of us.
Cheese and pizza, delicious. Costco pizza dinner. This
Okay,
evening, which is,
you gotta stop. I can't.
Terrible.
My heart rate, my anxiety. I cannot believe that she was listening to the podcast like that. I feel so awful.
Like, she drove a few hours by herself in the car and caught up on shows that she had missed.
I would just drive into a ditch. I would not be able to handle it. Literally, my heart rate is so high.
It's terrible.
I already talk too fast. I can't imagine listening to something like that.
Like, I kind of wanted to ask her, so, like, when we meet for, like, dinner, lunch, or whatever, or if you talk to me on the phone, I don't talk like that.
And we do talk. Yeah. And so you've heard me both on the podcast sounding like an insane person.
Yeah.
And in real life sounding like a fairly normal person. Mm-hmm. Never said a word.
Nope.
Man.
So,
God, thank you so much for listening to the
podcast.
podcast.
It doesn't seem to...
No, I mean, I'm so incredibly impressed that she was willing to put up with that for extended periods.
But if you want to take it to another extreme, so of course, you know, because I can't leave anything alone, I started listening to some of our episodes at a slower speed.
Oh, no.
Because I listened to it quicker, and then I couldn't do it. So I went in the other direction, and I listened to one of our episodes at half speed.
Oh, no.
And I think it's because 1.5 speed was just so jarring to me. I needed to I needed some self-regulation.
Yeah, you needed to balance the equation.
Do you want to hear what that sounds like?
I don't, but it...
Well, you know I'm going to play it for you.
You're going to play it anyway.
So I'm just going to play you like a few seconds of the last episode.
Okay.
I do want to talk about the fact that I finally broke down. I got a flu shot. The woman...
You can't get a flu shot while you're drunk, Kelly.
Sure can't.
Administering my shot.
Isn't this crazy?
I could not roll up my sleeve to the point where
we've all been at this bar.
Arm was exposed.
Last call's been
I
called.
had to give her a little bit of shoulder, which is fine. 'Cause she's a nurse and it's a hospital, and who cares?
So then, of course, I had to listen to the whole episode like
give
this.
her a little bit of shoulder.
So I found the spot where Mo Sidro and I, are one of our guest hosts, and I were talking. I have to play it for you.
Okay.
Because we sound like 3 drunk people.
I mean, just for that, I'm picturing there's a lot of unnecessary body contact. There's a lot of like patting of the shoulder happening, and a lot of like looking into eyes that shouldn't be looked at. And,
well, one eye's open, the other one's shut. There's like winking going on. All right, here you go.
Leaning.
It's pretty special. Here we go.
Yes.
Let me break it down. I was pissed that she was leaving. Okay. We had the vision. We were gonna transform the way that we deliver.
Yep, we've heard this kind of story before at
You're right.
3 a.m.
To the families, not the patient, because we took care of the families. Waiting room.
Family.
Surgery.
Yep.
Surgical waiting area.
Yep.
That's where we work.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
So I was pissed that she was leaving me. Understandable. In this, because we had this whole thing. We were going to do a podcast even back then.
We were going to do a podcast.
But,
So, I mean, it just went downhill pretty quickly.
Oh my God. I've never clicked through to see the half speed. We sound hammered.
Yeah. So you can either listen to our show at 1.5 speed and we sound like, I don't even know what we're on.
Well, that's like drunk chipmunks instead of drunk humans. Well, it's helium and
cocaine is back. It's back in style
that's true.
now,
It's back
right?
in vogue at this point. Yeah.
Or we're at the OP in downtown Burlington and they've been asking us to leave for 45 minutes.
Deep into last call at the spanked puppy.
Exactly. So, yeah. So, I mean, it really made my week.
Oh, man.
And so...
Well, I hope it made some people's week out there as well. Please don't do that. Do not listen to the podcast either on 1.5 or especially half. I mean...
It's rough.
Jeez.
And I'm pretty sure that in my youth, I sounded like that.
There have been times in your life. Or you were running at about 0.5?
Yep.
Maybe 0.35?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So
We've all been there, Kelly.
So
It's
there's
fine.
that.
We did talk a little bit about the fact that I'm having a baby soon. And I want to give a quick anecdote. I know that some people hate hearing about other people's babies, and I completely understand. And so I do not want this podcast to be a podcast about babies.
Whoa. This is not a podcast about babies?
What did I fucking sign up for here?
What am I even doing here?
I thought by episode 15 we get to the babies part.
Yeah. If people don't want to listen to your baby stories, they don't have to listen to this show.
It's not called Bitter Coffee for nothing.
Exactly.
Babies love coffee.
Yeah.
Real quick story. So we went and we got our Hannah got her third trimester ultrasound, and at that point they can do sort of a size estimate on the baby, based on how literal big she is by the scans. And so they gave us the percentage. They gave us, okay, so she's about at this percentile. It was a good, so good percentile for the national average for growth. But let me check the Vermont scale.
Oh.
And I was like, well, okay, why? Because I want to check the Vermont scale because, we make big babies in Vermont. I was like, what?
We make big babies in Vermont.
And we both Hannah and I are both kind of like, what the hell does that mean? And she was like, no, for real. Like, people in Vermont have bigger babies, so we want to check both to make sure everything is fine. And we were like, okay. I immediately was like, well, okay, it's very cold here, so maybe somehow gestationally babies get bigger because it's so cold. You gotta bulk up. Got to stay warm.
Right.
That is literally my only theory. And again, I have this one data point of the ultrasound person telling us that, like, oh, we have a separate chart. But she was clearly not joking, and it was a real thing. And apparently, in Vermont, we make big babies. Just put it out there, everybody.
How does it differ
Take that
from
with you.
other states?
Well, that's a great question. And immediately the mind boggles because I'm like, okay, so does that mean, like, does California make real skinny babies?
Right. Or
'Cause
even
that
New
seems-
Hampshire babies.
New Hampshire
how much
babies, yeah.
does it differ?
Exactly, absolutely. Florida babies, are they all just like crazy?
Do you think they're skewing the results so it makes it seem like we make big babies?
Maybe everyone else makes small babies?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very odd. Every day there's something new about having a child that no one warned you about. One of the other things we've discovered is that, and I think people know this about baby clothes if you've ever shopped for a baby or had a baby yourself, the genderization of baby clothes is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, the girls' clothes and the boys' clothes is the stupidest societal construct I've ever encountered. We went to Carter's to do a little bargain shopping on baby clothes, and the girls' racks, it's all just pink zhuzhy fabrics.
Like, they're not wearing pants.
They're not wearing pants. It's all leggings
Yeah.
and dresses. It's like things that I would be so annoyed to wear because there's bows and bangles and crap. And so then we wander over to the boys section.
You just sounded like you were from Chicago when you said that.
Crap.
It's bows and bangles and
Bows
crap.
and bangles and crap. Crap.
You should open up a children's non-gender specific clothing store.
Called Bows and Bangles and Crap?
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
I seriously had that.
Or no bows and bangles and no crap.
Crapless and no bows and no bangles. I had a conversation with somebody at work about we should start a non-gender specific clothing line. Essentially, all we want is a pink shirt with trucks on it. Is that so much to ask?
I don't think that's too much
I just
to ask.
want, it doesn't have to be pink. I just want a shirt that is in the girls section that has trucks and dinosaurs or whatever. We went over to the boys section, found all kinds of great stuff.
Do you know who has her own non-gender specific clothing line? You know who's fighting back? I'm going to give you one guess.
Are all the onesies $700? That's my question.
That's right.
Yeah.
Celine Dion. She has a non-gender specific
I have heard about
clothing
this.
line.
I have heard about this, and I would never dare compete with Celine in anything, whether
I
it
can't
be
get this
children's
to stop.
clothing.
I'm sorry.
Listen, that song will go on.
Oh, zing.
It's gonna go on, Kelly.
Zing.
Anyway, so that's my rant about baby clothes. We'll move on, but it's ridiculous. And
Can't
it
you
needs to
just
stop.
Google pink shirt with a truck on it?
You can. You know what you find? Very little. Or somebody on Etsy who is I've also noticed this problem, and I now make shirts with trucks on them that are pink or whatever. It's just dumb. It's a stupid thing. I don't understand it. It's just one of the many things I don't understand. But
Could
anyway.
it be a pink t-shirt with a car? Does it have to be a truck?
No, it doesn't have to be a truck. It can be a car.
Okay.
It can be
Is
fine.
it pickup?
Pickup's
Dump?
fine.
Any kind of truck?
Hand or could it have dumps like a truck? truck.
It's kind of like the conversation, how many kinds of yoga are there? How many
Yeah.
kinds of trucks are there?
Those dump trucks and skateboard trucks and
Pickup
pickup
trucks,
trucks.
fire trucks,
Fire truck. I almost forgot about fire trucks.
shrimp trucks.
I love the shrimp trucks. I love during the hot yoga conversation too. We were like, how many kinds of yoga are there? And we were like, hot yoga,
cold yoga,
cold yoga, tepid yoga. Yeah.
And I think I said aggressive yoga, and then we
We're
completely
done.
abandoned the
It was
idea.
that we moved on.
Yeah.
We could probably go longer for trucks, but we won't.
We could. I think we did.
we did go too long for
I think
trucks.
we did. Couple things that I want to talk about.
Great.
It's been a weird week.
Okay.
It's Thursday. I'm so thankful that this week is over.
Happy Thursday.
For a host of reasons. Some of them I cannot and will not say on the show.
So many of those things you'll never hear.
You'll never hear so many secrets.
Or things I had to cut out of the podcast.
So, the other day, where I work, I have not worked there long enough to be able to park on site. It's a thing, and I think I have like one more year.
Yeah,
and
we
I can
talked a
park
little
on site.
bit with the Christmas party. We talked a little bit about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we're bussed in and we're shuttled, and it's a thing.
Yep.
So the weather is nice enough now. Well, it was that day where I could walk from the hospital to where I park at Centennial Field.
Nice.
So I mean, I could see the main campus from where I park.
Sure.
It's not a long walk. So I was walking, and I was doing something with my phone, and I had my headphones on, and I wasn't paying attention. And as you know, I have very limited sight out of my left eye.
I'm aware.
So I saw something kind of dart towards me.
Okay.
And for some reason, I thought it was a really big boulder because there are boulders on either side of the road where I park at Centennial Field.
You were worried it was an Indiana Jones situation?
Well, I didn't know.
Okay. Did you steal a gold idol recently?
I never saw Indiana Jones.
God damn it, Kelly.
No.
Kelly, I only have so many references I can make.
Roll the credits. But I do. Exactly. Or the way some people listen to it could be a lot quicker than that. So I thought I saw what was a boulder like tipping over or something. I saw some kind of activity that I normally don't see. And it was this gigantic beaver.
Oh, it gets better than a boulder. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because, hey, Darek, what's better than a boulder?
A beaver. A beaver, nay boulder.
But it was standing next to a boulder.
Okay. All right.
And it was kind of the same color. And so I did what any normal person would do. I was just like, what the hell are you doing?
Damn it, city beaver. What in the world?
Darted toward me.
Oh my God.
And this thing was gigantic.
Okay, so now we're looking at rabid beaver.
Yes, it's during the day.
Rabid beaver was not coming out of my mouth. Ragged beaver.
Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. Rabid beaver. Rabid beaver.
Now we've just conjured something. I don't know what's going to happen when I leave the room.
We only said it twice. We didn't say it 3 times.
Great point.
So it gets aggressive towards me.
It's coming at you. It's stepping to you,
It
as the kids say.
postures.
My goodness, come at me, beaver.
Exactly. And you could take that wherever you want.
I'd rather not.
Oh, the 90s. So I didn't know what to do. And I was like, well, I can't hit it with he or she, whatever, them.
Didn't have time
I
to
can't
investigate.
hit them
Yeah.
with my bag
Yep.
because this beaver is...
Oh.
How big was this beaver? Beaver's bigger than my bag. And I can't hit it with my headphones because they're fairly fragile.
Yeah, not going to do a lot of damage.
No.
Yeah.
So I just started running.
What else are you going to do?
And then the beaver started running. And then I didn't look back.
I'm not going to make is your beaver running joke.
Exactly. So then, and I'm glad that you mentioned that because when I got in the car, I'm thinking, okay, who do I call?
Who is my first call?
Right, like is a rabid beaver
Is this a reportable situation?
and who do I report it to?
Who's responsible for that?
Like, does it warrant police response?
And are they going to take it in any way seriously?
Right?
I think you got to go fishing game there. You got to go fishing game.
Yeah, but then I would have. I figured, you know what? I'm letting people know now.
Yeah. So if you're
So
in
if you're
in the area of the hospital,
Burlington area,
anytime soon,
There's a rabid beaver on the loose.
Keep your eye out
So
for rabid beavers terrorizing the neighborhood.
look alive,
Beaver
y'all.
on the loose.
Yeah, loose beaver.
Oh, God. Oh, we came around to it.
But then when I got home, I received this letter that the IRS was withholding our refund.
What?
Because we had to confirm our identity.
That sounds an awful lot like a scam.
That sounds weird.
Yeah.
But, the letter looked legit and the letterhead on the return address looked legit.
Yep.
So I figured, well, what's the worst we can do? Call and find out it's some kind of scam.
Yeah.
So I call the IRS and it's a legit number. And I Googled the number before I did all my due diligence.
Yep. Nice.
And I'm thinking, I'm setting myself up for a disaster here. Because it's 4:00 on a Tuesday.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
And, these people have been getting yelled at all day long.
A bunch of these went out recently, and therefore it's all bad.
And the letter says, after we've confirmed your identity, it may take an additional 9 weeks to receive your refund. So, I mean, we're not getting a very large refund. So I'm not going to say we're not counting on the money, but can you imagine if somebody was kind of earmarking that money to pay a bill?
Sure.
Or,
right.
a big
people
bill
who are in a situation
a
where
mortgage
it really
or
matters.
whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, they're getting screamed at all day.
Yeah.
So I'm on hold for maybe 10 minutes and this woman gets on the phone and she introduces herself. She's like, my ID number is, whatever. My name is Miss Jackson.
Oh boy, Kelly. Mm-hmm. I know what happened.
So you know what I said, right?
I have a feeling.
I'll walk you through it.
Okay. I'm ready.
She said, and my name is Miss Jackson. And I said, if you're nasty. Yeah.
Yep.
And then, she kind of laughed. And I said, how often do you get that? And she said, about 60% of the time.
I love that she had a percentage at the ready.
She had a really good sense of humor about it.
Oh, good.
And so every single time I had to answer one of her questions, I would answer with, the answer is, 7, Miss Jackson. When am I ever going to get this chance again?
No, I mean, who knows the next time you meet
I have
a Miss
no
Jackson.
idea. So we quickly became best friends. And then she had talked to me about how, and I said, so is that your last name? And she said, no, my wife wants me to use our married name. Oh. So we're instantly best friends.
Of course, yeah.
And we're talking about where they went on their honeymoon and they're going on a cruise and it was a whole thing. Apparently, I am who I say I am, but I don't know if it would have gone so smoothly had I not been filled with fear after getting chased by a beaver. And then coming home I need to do something to kind of get rid of all this nervousness.
Right.
So I'm going to call the IRS.
I'll just call the IRS.
Yeah,
That'll take care of it.
I'll just confirm my identity over the phone.
Did you make any mistakes on the phone that forced you to go, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson? Ooh, I am for real. Because that would be my inclination.
She probably would have hung up on me.
Yeah.
If I did that.
Maybe she's an Outcast fan. You don't know.
Who knows? She might have been. She was a lovely person. So, hey, just a little PSA. If you have to call the IRS, ask for Miss Jackson.
But wait. So she wants her to use her married name.
Her wife wants her to use her married name.
Okay.
And she said, but I use Miss Jackson. And
right.
then, of course, my response, because you're nasty.
That's because you're nasty.
Yeah, I had to. I wanted to say because you work for the IRS and you're nasty. But no, so that I would let that go.
You meet the most wonderful people, Kelly.
I do put myself in these situations sometimes.
You had mentioned to me, actually, that wasn't your only phone experience, your weird phone experience recently. There was something about a telemarketer, apparently.
Oh my God, yes.
You. Yeah,
this kicked off my week.
Okay.
Oh my God. So we have a landline here, and I have taken it. It's become kind of a hobby. I've taken it upon myself to answer the landline whenever it rings.
Oh boy.
And
I'm sure those are all high quality phone calls.
Oh, they're wonderful. So somebody called the other day, and I get this regular flurry of phone calls saying, this is Google whatever, and you have to verify your business address. And then I ask them to be taken off the list, and they're usually like, no, you can't do that. So one telemarketer called on Monday, and this is pre being chased by a beaver. Okay. So my life was very different then.
PB, got it.
Exactly.
Got it.
Well, that one in particular. But anyway.
Ayo.
Ayo. It's a family show. Sorry, Grace. So I answered the phone and the person said, hi, can I speak to whoever? it was something like, can I speak to the credit card holder in the house? And I was like,
here we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I said, look, you know what? Like, I know you guys call all day long. And he said, no. I want to lower your interest rate. And he was pretty aggressive.
Into it. He was selling. Yeah.
And I said, I don't want you to call here anymore. We're on the do not call list. And I just, I want the phone calls to end.
Yeah.
And then he went into this whole thing about how I was wasting his time.
What? You were wasting his time.
Yeah.
His valuable telemarketer time.
I said, you called me. And he said, I'm just trying to get through what I need to say. And you keep on making me stop. And it's a waste of my time.
Oh, my God.
Like, this is just a weird.
Put your supervisor on so that I may absolutely tear you a new asshole.
Yeah. But you can't do that anymore.
No, you can't get a supervisor?
They'll hang up. No. Their new tactic, and believe me, I know all the tactics.
Well.
They will put me on hold for 25 minutes. So then it just becomes like a test of wits to see I can listen to this repetitive weird organ music over and over again.
You will not flag my will.
Yeah.
I shall endure.
It's been a week.
My goodness, it sounds like it.
I'm kind of glad that it's ending and it's over.
Speaking of ending and over, I feel like, that's about a podcast.
Yeah, it is.
If I'm not mistaken.
Feels like it.
So we want to thank everybody for listening. Does it feel like a podcast? It felt like a podcast to me. It felt like one. I hope you all felt like a podcast. If you are currently listening to this at 1.5 speed, my hope is that this will sound normal. But we want to thank everybody for listening to Bitter Coffee. As always, you can reach out to us, bittercoffeepod@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. Our intro and outro music is by John Worthy and the Bends, and we will talk to you next time. Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Yeah, that's going to be fine.
You know what I forgot to talk about?
Was there something else?
Yeah, there's something on my list I forgot to talk about.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah, remember when we talked about the personal ads in 7 days?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, do I remember? I had to rewind that part so many times to edit it because I was laughing too hard to hear the next part. I was like, shit, I got to go back again.
We should really try and be less funny next time.
I mean, listen, that's not for us to judge.
I'll work on it.
Fucking singletons killed me over and over again.
Because it kept on popping up throughout the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When the person had claimed in the ad that they were DD free, and I just assumed that it meant drug and disease free. Could it mean Dunkin' Donuts free?
Like that's a real selling point to their personality.
We should reread the ad.
No trans fats. Which you'll be pleased to hear. A more of a honeydew kind of a person.
Yet we have these really big babies in Vermont. Maybe it's not because of Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know. So just maybe something to explore.
Dunkin' Donuts free. I've had a bad experience. For any of you out there, if had a bad experience with Dunkin' Donuts, don't worry. DD free.